So that should be us live. I'm just going to make sure that it's
Yeah,
on.
it's live. It says live, and then it's counting the seconds at the moment. Up
Did you hear
left of the screen, yes. Can you see it? I can. Up left on the screen, it says live, and then the time.
Okay. So we do have a list of questions for you. And I had to, I'm multitasking here. I've got about 5 different screens because people were sending in questions on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I'm not prepared for this, like, at all.
It's all right. We'll take one question at a time.
And then he's going, pass, I don't know.
Just read the question slowly, though, because I'll get some, like, cuts in the sun when you speak. You know, sometimes, yeah.
I'll try and speak quite slowly.
That's all right. Just, make sure that I catch all the words, because, it's just cutting sometimes.
Oh, you're joking. And I swear, and I talk fast as well, so I think that's a massive issue. Right, so private chat. Me speaking too fast. I always speak too fast. So that's another major issue for most people with me, is that I talk too fast. Right.
Well, if it wasn't through the internet, it would be okay for me, but it's just because this sound is going whoop, whoop, like that, Again, sometimes I see your lips moving, but the word is not going out of the speakers.
That's not good. That's not good. Right, okay. I don't know if I've managed to send this link to people. Hold on. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. You can clearly see I don't know what I'm doing, can't you?
No, it's all right. I can pretend I don't.
I'm going to make it. There we go. That should be it now. Right. Okay. So, Nathalie.
Hello.
Hi. So it's been years since we last did something like this. I mean, God, it must have been, was it during lockdown or was it maybe just before it? It wasn't.
I can't tell you, but it's been a long time, yes.
It really has. And I think, and I don't know what's went on, because so much has happened in between that space of time for both of us, that, because we did plan on doing this conversation, maybe it was last year or so. I remember us speaking about it before, and then it just kind of sizzled out. I think we got too busy, and yeah.
Time goes so fast.
It does, doesn't it? And I mean, you've got so much on because you've got events coming up this year. You've just published a book.
Yes.
What? Right. So tell us, before we even get to the questions, I really want to know more about this book. So tell us more about this book that you've just published.
Oh, well, actually, it's only in French. I'm sorry about that. But actually, the next one will be in English, though. But this is the fourth one of the series, so the last and fourth one of the series of, how do you say that? Grooming charts for every possible breed, like from A to Z, right? So, and I started it a few years ago, and this last one was a bit complicated for me to finish because, when I started the first one was a long time ago, and I didn't have fully developed my method at the time. So the first one is rather traditional, if I can say that, in grooming, like the old-fashioned stuff. And this one was very hard to finish because I didn't believe in the old-fashioned way anymore. So I couldn't write about it properly. And so it took me more time to say, okay, just forget about the old-fashioned stuff. We don't care. So I integrated so now the fourth one is specifically incorporating my method in it. And I said, I don't know if I can say that live, but the F off word, F off, F off. I'm gonna forget about all the stupid stuff and just concentrate on the well-being. So yeah, it just released now, and I'm preparing the next one.
Oh my God, this is the English version one.
Actually, it won't be the same type of book. I think it will be more close to what I am now and what I believe in. It will be a book about natural ingredients, how you can incorporate them in grooming, and a series of like multiple recipes with only natural ingredients. So you can make your own shampoos, you can make your own conditioners, but only with like, it will be like oils, fruit powders, clays, and it's going to be like a really luxury, you know, very well illustrated type of book with a lot of details, and it will be in English.
I'm getting palpitations. I'm that excited. It honestly sounds, I mean, when I saw your post, obviously announcing that you've just published the book that you have published, it's sort of like instantly I was like, that is right up my street. It was like, it's like this thick. It's like a textbook. It's, oh my goodness. So is it sort of kind of like an updated version of Notes from the Grooming Table? Is it kind of that sort of thing you've went for? Like, have you seen that book before?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of the same type of book. It's like, you know, the one I just published. You've got a breed and you've got all the charts, and it explains step by step for each breed what you do, if it's a setter, if it's a cocker, and it gives tips so you can, you know how to hold your scissors and stuff like that.
It's really hard to balance, obviously, your ethos, which is very much holistic, with conventional kind of expectations, isn't it? But I mean, it looks amazing. It's certainly something that I hope you will have translated into English. Otherwise, I will be learning French because I am bad. But honestly, it was music to my ears when I saw that you had published a book, because it was just, obviously we have like your DAATA Method books. So as a student, you get a copy of the DAATA Method, and they're amazing books, even just to use over and above studying with you, even having that as a resource. I refer to your books all the time. So it's amazing to actually hear that you're intending on doing more when it comes to providing resources out there for groomers, because I think it is a much needed thing for all of us to have. So we'll get right stuck into the questions now. I see people are starting to log in. I don't know how the comments thing works now that we're kind of off of Facebook, everyone, but I'm hoping that there is a comments section on YouTube that you can comment, and it'll flag up onto Nathalie in our screen here, and I can pop that on the screen for everyone to see as well. So if you do have questions, then certainly send them in, and we'll try and answer, or I won't answer. Nathalie will try and answer as many as she can. Claire Pulfer has said hello. So
hi, Claire.
Here. Hi. So the first question we have is basically to get started on the topic of tools and equipment. From obviously your experience, why are tools and equipment such an important topic when it comes to preserving the skin and coat?
Well, all equipments from brushes to dryers and everything are very important because first of all, they touch the skin. Mm-hmm. You touch the skin, you scratch the skin, you rub it, whatever, it depends on the equipment we're talking about. And it's really important to understand how thin and how fragile the skin is. You know, if I take the example of dogs in general, it's an average, you know, the epidermis of a dog is less than 1/10 of a millimeter thick. If you want a comparison to human, our epidermis is average 6 millimeters. Mm-hmm. So you have 6 millimeters for us, and you've got less than 1/10 of a millimeter for a dog, and it's half of it for a cat. So obviously, everything that's going to touch the skin, first of all, it's going to be very sensitive. You know, when you only have a very thin epidermis, you feel everything. You feel differently because you're not the same species, but actually it's worse for dogs and cats. You know, their sensations are worsened, if I can say that, or accentuated by this fact and others. So you have to be very careful. So the challenge is to try to do a good job, but at the same time preserve the skin, because if you use a brush that is too tough, too harsh on the skin, then you're going to dry it out, you're going to create dandruffs, or you're just going to create an uncomfortable situation for the dogs, at least, and we don't want that. We want the experience to be as more pleasant as possible. The pets, they don't ask to be there on your table, and they are nice enough to let you do whatever you want with them. So the least we can do is know their physiognomy, know how they function, how the skin functions, and try to make it as pleasant as possible. And it is possible to do so if you have the right tools and the right understanding of how the skin works. So you have to understand, for example, that slicker brushes are no good. No good for cats, no good for dogs. And I know if you work with the traditional method, it is quite impossible to work without it. It is quite impossible. But if you learn the right methods, if you go to the right teachers, if you go to the right workshops and courses, then there is methods that you can avoid using your slicker brush on dogs. You can avoid using heat as well. Heat is not mandatory to dry. If you use cool temperature or hot temperature, actually your drying time will be the same. But if you use hot temperature, you dry the skin out and you create, itching and dry skin and dandruff, etc., etc. So did I answer your question?
You've opened a can of worms, I'm sure, for everyone that's going to listen to this. But the thing is, honestly, I don't know what everyone else's experience is when they first entered the industry themselves, but from certainly my point of view, that none of that was covered. None of it. You sign up to a course, it costs you £3,000, and you expect to learn the foundations of what you need to know in order to do your job safely. And none of what you're talking about was covered in my training. It's mind-boggling. Obviously, it's one of those things that you're obviously trying to change about the industry as well.
Yes, I would like to, and I think it's starting because there is groomers in England now doing the DAATA. They're my method, and there is groomers in Canada and United States and France, Belgium, Romania, Philippines, etc., etc. And it's starting slowly. And others are starting to teach it, which is good because I just have two hands and one mouth, so it's kind of difficult. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to spread widely when you are just on your own. But now my students are teaching as well, and yes, actually, when I entered the grooming world, I faced what I call the traditional, old-fashioned way, and every time I had a question, every time I wanted to get answers, why are we using this? Why are we doing that? I never had any clear scientific answer. So I started to make my own research because nothing of that was covered anywhere. It was this is how you hold your scissors, and this is how you do a cocker. This is how you do a poodle. Yes, but it's like it made me feel like these dogs and cats were objects.
Yeah,
they are on the table. You've got like a pack of mud on your table, and you have to like make a sculpture out of it, and it has to look like that. And you don't care if what's on the skin or if there is a problem with the hair. You just cover it up with product, and that's all. And you don't need to understand. And I hate that because I want to understand everything that I do. So I made my own researches, in part because I had a dog with skin issues, which is like the main reason why I did that. And I ended up creating my own method because nobody had a method that would fit my principles. That's, anyway, sorry, I talk too much, do I?
enough. Trust me, you don't talk. In fact, you do not talk enough, Nathalie. People don't hear you enough. Honestly, it's so interesting, and it's such an eye opener as well. I mean, I've got a poodle, and she's been prone to having really bad, like, irritable skin since the moment we got her. Even by implementing basic DAATA methodology from level 1, there's been a significant difference. I mean, see, her ear infections, they were chronic. Like, there wasn't a day goes by that she wasn't scratching. There wasn't yeast. Since even doing level 1 with you, even that's got place. It's not away 100%, but it's significantly better.
Yes, it has improved. I mean, we are not magicians. We can only improve. Sometimes we can arrange things. We can cure stuff. I know vets wouldn't agree with that word that I use because I'm not a vet, so I can't cure anything. But of course, we can't do everything with just water and the right brush and a few ingredients. But we can do a lot. And actually, when we understand how the skin functions and the hair functions, we definitely can't use the whole method anymore, because if we have a little bit of, a sense of logic, then we totally understand, okay, no, that I can't touch the skin with that. Oh, no, I can't do that. Oh, I have to do it this way. I have to water the dog that way. I have to touch my cat this way. I have to introduce him to water like this and like that because he's got these sensors and blah, blah, blah. So, yes, definitely, it totally changes the game. It totally changes everything. And the dog, I mean, how many dogs have I seen with my students and, coming back to me and say, for example, oh, I've been grooming this dog for 6 years, never let me touch his paws or never let me touch the head. And then they do level 1, and just change the basic stuff. And they come back to me and say, Nathalie, first time since I made your course, first time I did the dog all along. Some of them fell asleep in the bathtub, things like that. So yes, and they make movies, videos for me, and like it's fantastic. It's fantastic, and you just respect it. Science is everything. Science is everything.
And I think that's what makes your course as good as what it is, though, because it is supported by science. Whereas I don't think that much about conventional grooming is anything really to do with science at all. It's more to do with human desire and what looks good and what's going to sell. It's very business focused. So for geeks like me, your course is amazing because it's giving you that substance behind what you're teaching. So you can go out and explore those concepts better yourself, and it's there for you right in front of you.
And it gives you so much credit in front of people, when you have the science, science have your back, because, when you are like traditional groomer and your customer comes and say, oh, why do I pay this price? I mean, blah, blah, blah. Why do you do like that? Oh, we've always done like that. That's how things are done. Okay, fair enough. But but I see it doesn't work for my dog. I see my dog doesn't like it. I see my dog is not the way I wanted it, or I see the skin is red, or I see it's itching, or I see this and that. So why? Oh, it's not my fault. It will pass, or it was there before, or whatever. Now, when you're in front of your customer and you've got the science with you, you can explain, first of all, your own choices as a professional, because you are the professional. And if a customer comes to you and says, I want this, no, you can't. This dog, this particular breed, or this particular individual, he has this type of hair, he has this type of skin, he has this issue, that we can't do. But I'm explaining you why, and I'm supported by science. So obviously, I will be simple in my explanations, but they will be funded, they will be logical. And then if you're a regular customer, a normal person, you will look at your groomer in the eyes and say, okay, you know your shit, do whatever you want.
You command respect then. Yeah, you're a lot more credible. Yeah, like, I wouldn't like to stand up against you, Nathalie, I have to say. But it is so true. I mean, even just to be able to say, like, go off and look up this topic here, have a wee read, see what you find, and come back to me. And if you want to try and follow my recommendations, then that's what we'll do. But give them that opportunity to go out and source it for themselves and see that what you're telling them is actually supported by science, like you say. So it's adding that credibility to what you're doing. Because I do think as well, industry, our sector specifically, is looked upon as just, it's glamorized, isn't it? It's showbiz. It's not necessarily scientific. It's not professional. People don't have the respect for groomers that we really ought to have. And I think that your course and what you teach and your knowledge, it would, if it was integrated into all of grooming training, we would be a lot more confident with what we're doing, and we would probably be able to charge a lot more as well.
Yeah, so, that's also one of the objectives of my course.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, I want the dog and the cats and pets in general well-being. Mm-hmm. There is 3 objectives, 3 topics that I want. Well-being for pets, well-being for groomers, because it's important. It's a very harsh job, especially when you don't know what you're doing. It's even more difficult. And I want also people, groomers, to get the income they deserve, because normally being a groomer should be, it's not always like that, unfortunately, but it should be a very technical job, very scientific, very precise, and something that people can't do at home.
Yeah,
it's not something, I mean, if I am a regular person, if I'm not a groomer, of course I can put my dog in the shower, I can shampoo it, and I can brush it out. Maybe not all the breeds, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, okay, so my dog has dry skin, what do I do? My dog has dandruff. My dog is itchy. My dog has red skin. My dog is very sensitive to the shampoo I buy in the supermarket. What do I do? And this is where you definitely need a professional.
Yeah.
But for the moment, there is still a strong base of groomers that people don't see the point of paying them good money because they think they can do that at home.
Yeah.
So why would I pay you big money if I think I can do exactly the same? It's just I come to you because obviously I don't want to do it. I don't have time. And I'm just coming because I don't have time and I don't want to do it myself, right? But if I wanted to, I could. So that doesn't deserve a lot of money. But if you come with a lot of knowledge and of expertise and things like that, and then the people come to you and then they know how you work, they know what you're capable of, and they say, okay, what you do, I can't do. This is why I pay you.
Yeah. No, 100% on board with that. So obviously you tapped into slicker brushes, and I think obviously I understand the logic behind not using slicker brushes, because that is covered in level 1. But for those of people that are watching that have maybe not done your course yet, why are slicker brushes not recommended as part of your method?
Slicker brushes, first of all, there is always something I ask my students when we start talking about slicker brushes. And the first question and I ask to them is, would you brush your hair with a slicker brush? Would you do that? No. Why? Because obviously you know what a slicker brush is. It's little metal pin, very thin, and they are not smooth. They are just cut like that, and it's just, how do you say that? Harsh metal pins and very thin. So whatever you do, no matter how precocious you are, you will scratch this very, very thin epidermis. And you will create dehydration. You will create discomfort. You will create redness. Whatever you do. I know, well, you're not supposed to touch the skin, blah, blah, blah. But whatever when you have to take a knot from the roots, touching the skin, if the knot is touching the skin, obviously you got to go underneath and you will scratch the skin. We all did that. For all of us who used the slicker brush before in our life, we know that we can't avoid the skin. So basically, you create first pain, discomfort, and pain sometimes, most of the time. But because dogs are very nice, Most of the time, they will just show a discomfort and they will just like tense their back or lower the ears, you know, show signs of discomfort, but they will let you do it because they are nice, you know, because they are willing to please you, right? So sometimes you have to, that's why you have to put yourself in their place, because they won't tell you anything, most of them. Some will growl, some will bite, but most of them will let you do whatever. So these little pins of metal are totally destroying the epidermis. And the more you use it, you know, healthy skin equals healthy hair.
Yeah.
If you damage the skin, which is what you do with a slicker brush, you damage also the hair growth, the hair regrowth. So obviously, as an esthetician for dogs as well, because you also want the dogs to be nice, you know, to look beautiful, you will have more and more bad hair. The more you slicker brush your dog, the more the hair will deteriorate as well. So this is basically why you are supposed not to use them.
Yeah.
And also because, first of all, it hurts.
Yeah.
That's primary.
Also, if you're damaging the epidermis as well, you're then making the underneath layers vulnerable as well, aren't you? Because that's a protective barrier. So if that's damaged, then surely more bacteria is going to penetrate through deeper layers of the skin as well. Is that correct?
Well, with a slicker brush, it's more superficial stuff. But the thing is that if you damage the epidermis, you initiate the creation of new cells, because and you know, you accelerate what is called the epidermization, you know, the process of epidermization. So basically everything underneath is getting you know, all upset and is working faster and faster. So basically, yes, you totally interfere with what's underneath. Yes.
It's honestly, and I think that's probably one of the key turning points of my career when I took your course. I feel like I'm constantly plugging your course. I can't help that. I'm sorry. But no, it is. I can remember reading it and thinking, oh my gosh, like not even like within my clinic, but also as obviously I have 2 Tibetan Mastiffs with double coated thick coats, you know, and that was a tool that I was obviously taught to use. And I think you think to yourself, all of those years of using slicker brushes, and I had no idea, absolutely no idea. So to replace slicker brushes, because obviously one of the questions that came through was to do with slicker brushes and how I think it was Victoria had said that she's only found slicker brushes to be effective in removing, not dematting, but removing kind of tangles in the coat. So what would be the alternative tool to use for that sort of efficient detangling process?
Actually, the most efficient alternative and very, you know, and you will be able to use like almost any kind of brush, it's to learn how to demat in the bathtub. That's the main thing. You need to stop brushing dry hair. You need to stop trying to demat before the bath. Even if you have like a very bad situation, like, you know, big matting, you have to understand that it's totally feasible to put the dog in the water, lather him in your products, whatever you use, it doesn't matter, and use your high velocity dryer if necessary, you know, to how do you say that? To I lost one word of English. You know, to loosen the knots. And as long as you learn to work in the bath, you can do anything with a very soft brush. Sometimes you will need some thick metal pins, sometimes, of course, but most of the time you will have just a regular brush, just like you brush your hair with, and you will do it. That's the secret. Work in the bath. And what works very well as well is working when the dog is lathered in conditioner.
It's kind of like fairy liquid with a ring that's too tight around the finger, isn't it? when you've got that fairy liquid substance, it's so much easier to take a ring off that's too tight.
Exactly. It's the same. The knots will just slide. So you just lather the dog, and what you can do as well, which is a very good tip, I think. Traditional groomers have a tendency to do like wet the dog, I shampoo my dog, and then I condition my dog. You can add another step, which is before the shampoo, you can condition.
Yeah.
In French, we call that a pre-mask. It's a mask that we do before the shampoo, and it's always on wet hair that you work. So you can wet the dog, and then you lather it in conditioner. You blow dry it, and you brush it, and it doesn't have to be longer than any other step. I mean, if you have a product that is supposed to sit like 5 minutes, well, during 5 minutes you just brush and you blow dry, etc. Then you rinse, and when you rinse, you brush, because when you have a hair filled with water, the knot will slide.
Yeah.
If you've already brushed your hair in the shower, you know that when you brush in the shower, it's just, oh, that slides very smoothly. Oh gosh, the same with the dog hair. So and then you just do it again, and you just shampoo, and then you just condition again, and then you do it again, and it's very easy. But of course, you can't throw yourself in this method and say, okay, I'm going to try it on the worst dog I've ever seen tomorrow. No, you can't do that. So you have to start slowly with like easy dogs, easy dematting situations. And then progressively, once you're, starting to understand and say, oh, I see how it works, and I start to take, to work faster, then you can try, challenge yourself with a worse situation.
See, on the topic of obviously slicker brushes as well, but I know totally off context as well, but I'm just covering. See, when it comes to poodles and obviously the fluff drying process as well, how in terms of preparing coat for that, is that still achievable without the use of a slicker brush?
What do you mean? Sorry.
No, how when they say to fluff dry, to make it that teddy bear fluff, it's still feasible. Is it still feasible to do that without the use of a slicker brush?
Of course.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to remember is that the follicles has a memory.
Yeah.
It has a memory of what you're doing during the grooming. So basically, whatever brush you take, whatever comb or whatever dry you're using, you have to remember to work the hair up.
Yeah.
You want the hair up. So have you noticed how in traditional grooming, brushing a poodle, is so long?
It's long, and
it's long. Yeah, it takes forever, right? Especially when you have like those big ones, yeah. So, but it's because you groom the dog, and during all the grooming, you tell the follicles, you tell, okay, you go wherever you want, down, up, where, left, right, whatever. So when you start drying, it's too late. This is why it's so long, and you need harsh tools, and you need, this long and hard fluff drying. But if you, from the very beginning, if you take your water up, underneath, and you go up, if you lather up, if you brush up, you don't need harsh tools to do that, because the hair is naturally made to go up anyway. So it will go easily. It will follow you. It will follow your lead easily, because, oh, I was made like that. Okay, I'm going up. Okay. Cool. That's me, baby. I'll go up. Okay. And then
I'm never gonna like it back again.
and you go, and then because you work with the hair and with its natural orientation, then the water will go inside more easily, and the shampoo will go inside more easily, and the air will go inside more easily, and the brush will go and pass through the air more easily. So at the end, you don't need to have like a big slicker brush and a harsh, a strong hard and going blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. No, because it will be very easy. Your brushing will be quick, easy and quick, and you'll have a very nice fluff at the end.
Yeah, I remember covering that when I was studying for level 1, and it was to do with the direction of the water during bath time, and how if you're wanting that flat coat, then you work with the water in the direction you want the coat to lie. And it's just, and when you see it, it sounds so logical once you see it. But why did I never think of that at the time? It's like one of those infuriating things.
Everybody says that to me. And I say, everybody that takes the course says, it's so logical. Why didn't I think about it before? Well, it's just because, because we are so into what old-fashioned famous groomers are saying, and it has to be like that. And, this big name does it like that. This big name does it like that. So we can't change anything. Otherwise, they're going to be cross.
Yeah.
They're going to be cross. They won't like us anymore. Well, nobody likes me. Nobody likes me, but the dogs are nice now. They're comfortable.
Honestly, but you're hitting the nail on the head. I think a lot of the time it's fear of speaking out, it's fear of trying something new out of fear of judgment. But yeah, I just remember that being another major learning point for me when it came to the bathing process, and even the process of bathing as well, in terms of like brushing a dry coat. Again, like even when you brush your own hair, you can see it, you can actually feel it break, and you think, so see now, even with my own hair now, I've got a wee water spray that I just over my hair before I brush it, and I do that all the time now. I never brush my hair when it's fully dry, and it's just another key point that I took away from your teachings. It's been life-changing.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome. I've got all red now, I don't know why. So another question came through, and it was to do with drying cabinets. Obviously, that's a massive topic for a lot of groomers. I think still a lot of groomers today use drying cabinets. Is that a recommended tool, or would you kind of sway against that? What's your thoughts on drying cabinets?
Well, actually, you know already how I feel about it. But first of all, I would like to point that I'm against nothing, because I don't have the truth, in me. I don't speak the truth. I'm not God. I just tell things that I know and I think are good. So obviously, I would never tell somebody, this is totally forbidden. You can't do that. You do whatever you want. You've got the knowledge, and you do whatever you want with this knowledge you've got. But for personal view, I do not use them, and I do not recommend them. However, if you want to use it, it's up to you. But the reasons why I don't really like them, it's first of all, it has to come with the outcome.
Yeah.
It's the first and the least reason, because when you're in drying cabinet, basically you can't direct the hair.
Yeah.
You can't direct the air, and you can't direct the hair the way you want. So basically, you don't really have the very nice outcome you could have, the best result you could have for your customers and for the hair. But the other reason that are more important is that, first of all, when you're in a drying cabinet, and you're a dog or a cat, how do you regulate your temperature?
Yeah.
You breathe, because you don't sweat, and because you don't sweat, you breathe, and you just you breathe the air around you, which is normally cooler, so it cools you down. But because you're in a very small place, the more you breathe, the more you reject hot air from your mouth, the more it's difficult for your body to ingest, to inhale cool air and then cool down. So basically, it creates like reaction. The air around you is getting hotter and hotter, and it's more and more difficult for you to cool down your body. So it's okay if you're a very fit adult, very good health adult. You can support it. It's all right. You can stand it. As long as you're out of the cabin soon enough. But then you have all these pets with different issues. You've got health issues, maybe he's sick, maybe he's got fever, maybe, you don't know. You've got overweighted dogs and cats. When you're overweighted, you can't really regulate your body temperature like a fit one. And obviously you will get hotter faster.
Yeah.
Very, very much faster. So you're totally at risk when you're overweighted and you're locked in that thing. And then you've got all those physical characteristics, if you're a brachycephalic dog or cat, if you're a Persian, if you're a French bulldog, an English bulldog, a pug, you can't breathe as easily as the others, and it takes you more energy to cool down your body. And there is also all the things we don't see, For example, I would never put a Yorkshire Terrier in a cabin, a drying cabin, because there is a disease called tracheal collapses. Have you ever heard of that? Tracheal collapses. Do you know that in the world, 3 of 4 dogs that are sick with this are Yorkshire Terriers?
I didn't know that. No.
3/4 of dogs in the world having tracheal collapses or Yorkshire Terrier. So basically, when you have a York on the table, he's more likely to be sick with this. So tracheal collapses is basically the trachea is like pinched, sometimes not very much, sometimes very much. And obviously, because of that, air doesn't get in very well in your lungs, and you can't regulate properly. You can't breathe. You're out of breath very easily. So if you're in a drying cabinet, and then you die, definitely.
Gosh.
And
innate nooses are another big no-no for those sorts of breeds as well. On that note, then anything around the kind of neck area. Oh my goodness.
Actually, if you want, I've got a book. It's in French, but I'm definitely sure it's in English too, because it's been written by an American.
Okay.
If you want to know more about this stuff, because you really need to know what breeds you can dry with hot air or you can put in the cabinet. This is the book. So it's in French, but it's written by Alex Goth and Alison Thomas.
And
so it's spelled Alex Goth is spelled Gough, and Alison Thomas, obviously Thomas like Thomas. And they've written a book. It's about racial predispositions and hereditary disease of dogs and cats, and it works like a dictionary. And you've got like, if you go to, I don't know, like for example, you've got Cairn Terrier, and they tell you, for example, Cairn Terrier are prone to atopia, for example, or diabetes or whatever. And you've got plenty of different disease, but you also have respiratory disease, heart disease as well. Heart disease, you can't put a dog that has heart issues in a cabin, right? So basically, this is all the reasons why I tend not to use it. I never use it. And even for cats, it's the same, because you've got the Persian, you've got the overweighted cat, you've got the sick cats, etc. So I don't use it, and I really like to have control over what I do as well. Total control over what I do with the pet.
It's kind of like me with an automatic car versus a manual. I just feel like I trust a manual better than I trust an automatic, because you
see my point.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing. And it also, I suppose, kind of the other risk being, if you have got a dog with skin disorders as well, being trapped into a drying cabinet, that's going to exacerbate that as well more. So there's so many reasons to be cautious.
Also because you need to make sure that there is, for example, for certain disease, you may need to make sure there is no moist left in the coat. You need to make sure the air and the skin is not dried out too much, etc., etc. So it's better, especially when you have skin issues, to really keep the control, and from start to finish, to make sure that everything that will touch the skin, that will interfere with the skin and the hair, will be appropriate regarding the issue you've got.
Yeah. Another question was to do with banded combs. Have you ever seen them being used on dogs? Banded combs, it's like a comb and then they put elastic bands through the comb.
It really depends why you're using them. They can really damage the hair, of course, but you can use them as a substitute of stripping knives.
Okay.
Right. If you use them as, I don't know how you say that. Yeah, replacement. It's okay. So it has to be thick coats. If you use it on very thin ones, it will just catch it and it will just rip it off, So yeah, as long as it's used properly, it's all right.
Okay. Yeah. Stripping's one as well. I think a lot of people are like, oh, is it really holistic to do that to a dog? Do they really enjoy the process? It's, again, would that depend on various factors when it comes to obviously the skin and coat as well as suitable coat, suitable skin? Is that what you're kind of looking out for?
Yeah, well, groomers have to understand that a lot of techniques, a lot of nice tips we find around are made for them, not for the dogs.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously, it's not because a tip is, oh, it's wonderful, it works wonders. Yes, but it's not appropriate. It makes you, wonderful. It makes you win time. That's good. But, when you have very thin hair and when you're not stripping breeds, so basically if you use this comb with elastic you're talking about, because your hair is going out anyway, it's okay. Because your hair is going out naturally because we are stripping you. But if you are a dog which is an anagen, for example, or a dog with very thin and very alive hair, obviously you're going to grab this hair, just like when you stuck your own hair is with bands and you just have to pull it and it hurts, right? So you have to think about the comfort and of the dog first and the health of the hair, how you treat the hair and the skin as well. That has to come first. So sometimes, yes, we have to do things that are not comfortable for us, but if we don't do that, it won't be comfortable for the dog, and we don't want that.
Exactly. Yep. Another question Victoria had asked about products. So finding the right products. Obviously, she looks out for products that are, I'm reading it off the screen, by the way. She's looking for products that are vegan, sulfate and phosphate-free, natural botanicals, etc. But are these actually okay for the skin and coat? Or are there any kind of UK brands that you would kind of recommend as being the best type of products for a dog's skin? Again, it's going to really depend, isn't it?
I don't recommend brands.
Yeah.
First of all, because I don't support any brand. I mean, there is brand that I like, but I don't name them because I don't want groomers to say, oh, Nathalie said that, so because she said that, I'm going to use this one. So basically, because I don't use them, I make my own. So obviously, they're just examples that I like, but I don't even use them because I make my own products. So what I recommend to those who want to know what are the best products, blah, 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 of course, natural is great, but natural can mean anything. I mean, you've got bottles written, 100% natural ingredients or 98% natural. That's fantastic, but natural means anything. The worst chemical in the world comes from natural ingredients.
Wow.
Of course, it doesn't fall from the sky, from outer space, You take natural ingredients, things you find in nature, and you transform them with certain, sterilization or distillation or whatever. And then you obtain, after transformation, you obtain a chemical. So basically, natural can be
manipulated.
Yes, and it's a very large definition. So what I suggest is, instead of me giving you a fish so you can eat one day, I prefer you to learn how to fish by yourself, So learn the ingredients, read the labels, My first advice is you can use whatever you want, but do not use products that do not display the ingredients. It can be the worst chemical in the world as long as they are honest with you and they say, okay, this is shit. We are putting shit in our bottle, but we are telling you, so now you know what to do with it. All right? So that's my first advice. And then make a lot of research. There is a lot of ingredients that are considered safe. And if you try to, you make a few researches on the internet, you go, oh yeah, this website, 2, 3, 4, 5 websites, it's safe. And then you're going to dig a little deeper. And then you just find out that actually it's not. But I'm kind of an extremist when it comes to chemicals. Yes, because I've got this theory of dog poo in my mashed potatoes. That's my theory. Because I had a big fight with a shampoo seller once because he was using an ingredient that I don't like, which is very aggressive for the skin and very polluting for the planet. And he said, yeah, but it's okay because it's very diluted and it's only a little blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, so what if I make mashed potatoes to you, very nice mashed potatoes. But because, my mashed potatoes, they are a bit too light in colors and it's not smooth. There is piece of potatoes. I want it to be smoother and best in color, so better colored. So I'm going to add a little tiny itty bit of dog poo in it. And then it's going to be colored. It's going to have a nice yellowish color, just like any mashed potatoes should have. And then, of course, it's going to be smoother. So the texture will be nicer. Will you eat it?
I love that.
No. So I'm the same with shampoos and products. If there is a tiny itty bit of dog poo in it, of chemical shit in that, I won't use it on my skin or my dogs or my daughters or my husband's. Right? So.
Oh my God, I honestly wish I was in the room when you say that. My jaws are hurting. I'm actually smiling so much. It's so funny. Oh,
so yes. So just to answer clearly the question that Victoria was at. So to clearly answer the question, yes, you can have very nice results with natural vegan products, etc. And actually, most of the time, when these are real good products, real, natural stuff, they generally avoid most of the shit that I don't like. And they will respect more the skin. You still have to dilute them though. Do not try to use them undiluted. But you will have nice results. Sometimes you just need to get accustomed to it, get used to it, because sometimes you will not have the same touch, the same texture. But in the end, what's matter is that the hair is clean. So as long as it cleans, if it's a shampoo, and if it's a conditioner, as long as it conditions, then it's okay if it doesn't feel exactly the same, because it's psychological, You're used to something that cleans very harshly. So obviously when you touch the hair after a more natural shampoo, you don't have the same harsh texture, when you grasp the hair, you grip it, it's not the same. It's totally normal. As long as it's clean, as long as you have a nice result, most of the time it will be more respectful for the skin, you will have a nicer hair. So yeah, go for it.
On that topic as well, then, what's your kind of views on fragrances? Like, obviously, to finish, obviously a lot of groomers will finish with a nice deal, like what's it called? Perfumes. Oh my gosh, I can't get that word right. What do you think of like your fragrance sprays and things like that to finish off?
I'm sorry, I just lost the sound. So what was the question?
What's your thoughts on fragrance in terms of
fragrance? Right.
Yeah, like fragrance.
There is natural fragrances. There is natural and soft fragrances. But this again is something we do for us, not for them. So if we speak about the pet's perspective, first of all, I would not recommend to use any fragrance on cats. Okay. They have a special organ in the nose, and it's very sensitive and it's very fragile, and they must not smell strong perfume. Also, it might have an influence on their temperament, on how they react, especially when they go home and there is another cat or there is another dog, and they can fight because they will have this difference of smell.
Yeah.
And for dogs also, this is just a question of selfishness for humans, because I want him to smell like strawberry. Actually, yeah, dogs don't like that. Dogs don't care. Dogs don't care. And most of the time, actually, if you have a dog with sensitive skin or sensitive smell, what he will do is, as soon as he gets a chance, go out and rub in a poo.
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, 100%.
Because he wants to get rid of the smell. He doesn't like that at all. So if the dog is not uncomfortable, why not? But, for example, all the breeds that hunt, all the breeds that are, blood searcher and things like that, all the dogs that are very sensitive, they have very sensitive smell because of their work or their past work, genetic, then these dogs really dislike it. So try not to put too much on them.
Yeah.
You can still use it, but try not to overload. Try to spray it more at the back of the dog instead of near the head, it's better. So it still smells, but it will be less aggressive for its nose.
Yeah, I always say anyway, if you've cleaned the dog well enough, he's not going to smell anyway. So what's the purpose on having a fragrance spray other than, like you say, for our own benefit?
Exactly, it's for our own benefits. Shampoo should be scent-free, say Claire. Actually, it's better for cats. Yeah, definitely, I would recommend scent-free shampoos for cats. Because it's better for them with their organ, the Jacob organs. I'm not sure how in French it's called Jacobson. But I don't know how you call it in English, but anyway, they have a special things so it's better. And for dogs, actually, you have to understand that most of the time, when you have a skin reaction on the dog because of a shampoo, most of the time it will be because of the fragrance or the preservatives. That's the main two ingredients that are, more probably you will have more reactions from these ingredients. So if you can use a scent-free shampoo for dogs as well, this is also a good occasion to have less skin reaction from your shampoos.
It's amazing. And it's just simple things that you think is just pre-programmed into you to naturally do, because you feel again that expectation that the carers are wanting that clean smell, that overpowering, lovely fragrant smell at the end, and you do feel under pressure to give them that a lot of the time. But again, just having that knowledge base to actually support not doing that is going to help, obviously, going forward in trying to explain why you're not doing that anymore. There's another question from, I'm trying to find it because I had a screenshot. It was like, honestly. So Claire Hudson, I don't know if she's watching because she's not spoke yet, but she sent a question before we came on live, and she'd said, I would like to know the main factors of why dogs get dandruff and how we can help them. I have lots of customers who have dogs with dandruff, but my own Great Dane also gets dandruff from time to time. I used to think it was diet related, but she is on top end kibble, blah, 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 blah. So thoughts.
It can be diet related, it can. So obviously, when you have dandruff, you can look into it first. You can look into the diet and see if there is some lack of zinc or lack of calcium or things like that. All the things that helps the skin to metabolize the epidermis. Obviously, when it comes to grooming, definitely we can interact with the skin and create dandruffs. So that will be when we brush a lot, when we brush. It can be the groomer, but it can be at home. If the owner brush, on dry skin and he brush and brush and brush, it's okay to brush a dog, but if you brush it too much and if you scratch the skin, this will create an acceleration of the creation of the cells of the epidermis, of the stratum corneum, and this will create dandruff because the enzymes on the skin will not be able to cope with the amount of dead cells going out. So that's the factor. And then, of course, you have dehydration. If you brush too much, you also make the water going out faster. And if you dry with hot air, you've got water coming out as well of the skin. And if you also do not condition after a shampoo, then you have a dehydration that is accelerated by the shampoo and not stopped. Because if you don't condition, you do not stop the dehydration caused by shampoo. And then, of course, if you have already a sensitive, fragile skin, it will not cope with that dehydration and it will create dandruff. So that's the main reasons you can have. And also, of course, main reason, so can be that, it can be diet, and it can be because the dog lacks of water as well, meaning that he doesn't ingest enough water. So that could be also a reason.
There you go. See that, and I actually noticed that a lot in dogs as well. There's I would say that dandruff is one of the most common things that I see in dogs, other than like yeast. Yeah.
Actually, that's good because it's one of the most easiest problem you can solve, because these skins, when they have a lot of dandruffs, what they need is water. Yeah. So basically a good hydration bath, a good hydration, rinsing a lot and conditioning. So you just, you stuck the water, in the skin, and this helps a lot.
Okay. So I had questions about your published book, and I also had questions about your events that were coming up, but we kind of covered that at the beginning, and how obviously, what are your events that are coming up? You've got a couple actually, don't you, in the UK?
Actually, in England, I've got two coming up in England. Well, actually, I'll be at Crufts. So if you want to meet me at Crufts, for those who are, I'll be there. I'm helping a friend, but I got no idea what's the number of the booth because I've got no idea where he is. He's got a shampoo brand, so I'm just helping there because he doesn't know nothing about breeders. So, right. And then on the 16th of March the 16th, I'll be in Billingham.
Yeah.
So I will give a seminar, a one-day seminar about pet relaxations in grooming and how to use certain ingredients, natural ingredients to help them relax. And then I'll be in Hornchurch near London on 29th and 30th of March for a seminar which is more like for groomers specifically. So we'll talk about this topic as well, but there will be a whole day of workshop and literally working on the ingredients, integrating in the grooming process, and just not only for behavior, but also for skin issues. So it will be very easy recipes, very easy tips, but that makes a big difference on the skin and hair.
Oh, I was reading about that the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Do you know what? It's rubbish because you're so far down south for me. But I think a lot of groomers are in the academy. If they're interested in this sort of thing, it's quite accessible for them, kind of nearer to London. So I'm hoping that some of the HCA students will kind of venture down and book up into the events, because I mean, they sound amazing. The one that Lorraine's running, that you're attending as well, that I was trying to get booked up on, to be continued. I'm still trying to get childcare, but it sounds amazing, and the fact that you're here so much is just amazing as well, because it's Hornchurch is near Clare.
Yes. You can find details on my Facebook. If you go on my Facebook, I've got the event. So, and you can, the name I wrote on the video there is it's my name, obviously, and it's the one I use on Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook if you want, and then I can send you the details if you don't find them. So yeah, it's going to be 2 days for Hornchurch. It's going to be 2 days with hands-on no hands-on on the dog, but hands-on on the product. I will bring all my ingredients, all I can, through customs. Right? And I will show, it will be at Nikki Palk Salon. I don't know if you know
it honestly sounds so good. It sounds so good. Claire, please go and let us know how you get on and take lots and lots of photos if you do. We have talked for quite a long time, actually, haven't we? Because I had said to people, it's okay, it's only going to be 30 minutes. Don't worry. And I've taken up like an hour of your time. Like, I can't actually.
I told you I talk too much. I told you I talk a lot. As long as you ask me a question, I just can go.
I should be honest. I need to pay you for it, honestly, because this is so much time. It's been really fascinating. Every time we speak, it always is fascinating, Nathalie. Honestly, you're just a bundle of knowledge, and it's just much needed in our industry at the end of the day. So if people would like to learn more from Nathalie, I totally recommend that you look up the DAATA method, but I will be sharing that all in the comments later on for you guys to get easy reference to that. But other than that, please let me know when you're publishing this other book of yours in English, because I will be buying.
It is going very well, actually, because I'm very motivated. So I've already done probably more than half of it.
Have you got like a kind of target date in mind, or are you just playing it by ear?
It will be released this year. I don't have like a target date because I'm very picky, so I go over details again and again and again. But it will definitely be out this year for sure. In English, yes, for sure.
If you're anything like me, when I'm writing my books, I try to edit as I go, and I think then it just makes things 100 times more difficult, because I remember one of my actual editors she edited the first book that I published, The Magic of Holistic Grooming, and she said the worst thing you can do is try and edit as you go. You have to just write one first draft and then look at it after you've written the book from start to finish.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yes, I just go. I mean, if you read that, what I wrote at the moment is probably filled with typos and errors, and of course, because I write everything that comes, and I go, I go back page 2. I insert another page between 10 and 11 because I have that. I put everything, blah 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 blah, and then
11+1.
Exactly, and then after I've put everything, like a big. Yeah. I've got all the ingredients on my counter for the recipe, and then I cook.
Oh, I can't wait, honestly. Well, just keep us up to date with it then. Keep us posted on it. I'm sure it's going to be definitely one of our recommended resources as well going forward for students signing on to the course. But once again, honestly, Nathalie, thank you so much for your time tonight. Hopefully everyone will be watching it back in replay, and you'll get lots of people inquiring about your course. Like I say, it's an amazing thing to enroll on, so please do consider it if you are watching. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And I was like, yay, she's on. I'm sure we're going to have you back again at some point as well. So hopefully.
Anytime.
Thank you very much. All right. Have a lovely evening, everybody. And I shall see you all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
There you go.